flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the minutes, meeting to order. Can you make a motion to approve the minutes of our meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 12th meeting presented by the clerk.
I will second.
No, rather than chair if you want.
Do we want to include the special meeting of April 26th also now?
I
think we should.
18th, yeah, that's been noticed.
The April
Include
12th
it.
and the
Yeah,
April
fine.
26th.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Councilor Trombley made the motion that the minutes for the April 12th regular town board meeting and April 26th special town board meeting be approved as submitted by the town clerk. Second by Councilor Devlin. Roll call, Councilor Latimer.
Yes.
Councilor Vino.
Yes.
Councilor Devlin.
Yes.
Councilor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Speaker.
Yes. I'm getting ready to retire and stuff. Okay, we're gonna open up the meeting to a public comment session. I know we have a few people that want to address the board tonight. Why don't we start with Barbara? That's okay? You want to
Okay.
stand up and introduce
Sure.
yourself? And
I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Barbara Marking, and I'm the new JCEO Community Representative for West Chazy. And we'll be open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to noon. And I just want to let you know that Saturday was Stamp Out Hunger, and today we received 600 pounds of food from Chazy Post Office and 520 pounds of food from the West Chazy Post Office. So the pantry is full. Any questions, give the office a call. There's an answering machine on all the time, and I'm glad to be part of the community. Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, people can also go there, right, fill out their heat forms?
Yes,
And what other
there's
forms can they fill out there versus going to Plattsburgh?
the repair of their furnace, if their furnace is broken, and it's available year-round. HEAP actually will be ending their season this Friday. There's a HEAP, and there's also emergency HEAP. And there's the food co-op. There's clothing, we take clothing, and have clothing laid out for the families that have come in to receive that as well. Any communication that people need to do in the community to social services or downtown Plattsburgh JCEO, they can do through fax or phone calls, through the office. I'm trying to think what else, I'm still kind of new.
Well, I just
but-
wanted to get it so that people, because
Okay.
people watch this.
Okay,
So they know the
great.
services that you actually provide there that they can get in town instead of having to go.
Yes, transportation to medical appointments,
Yeah, well, that's just.
yes.
What were your hours again?
Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 12 noon.
Oh, could you give the phone number? You have the phone number there that you can get?
I have it in my Rolodex. 493-3491. The fax is the same number.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I know we have a couple of people. Did you have something tonight, James?
No, I'm the audience.
Okay. Tom, do you have anything?
Not right now.
Not right now? Okay. Mr. Martin, do you want to go first, or would you like this gentleman to put out his presentation first, whatever you think?
Well, what I have is pretty short.
Okay, go ahead. I like those.
Yeah, I'm David Martin, and I think everybody knows that Dr. Clark left his house to the Alice T. Minor Colonial Collection with a year to accept it or reject it. And the Alice T. Minor Museum would like to accept it, but all their funds are restricted so that legally they can spend no money at all on the Clark House. The money that Dr. Clark left to go with the house is not enough to support it. It goes a good deal of the way, but it's not enough for the whole project. Now, we're incorporating a board to run the Clark House, and the board would operate under a lease from the Alice T. Minor Museum. But the only way that we can do this is if we can show that, one, the people in Chazy would really like to keep the Clark House in the community for the use of the community, and two, that it can be financially stable. And to show the board what we'd like to do, this is the forming board for the Clark House. We'd like to ask the town board for permission to have a special vote, the way the West Chazy Library did about 5 years ago. And the purpose of the vote would be to see if the people in the town would accept a line item levy of 8 cents on $100,000 for the first $100,000 of a parcel. Now, this is a very small amount, and it would add up to less than $8 a parcel at the most, probably less than that. If we could have a vote like this, the Clark House Board would be absorbing any costs of setting up the vote, so it wouldn't be any charge to the town at all. And of course, we'd like to run it on the model of the West Chazy Library when they redistrict it, with the advice of the town council, make sure we do it the right way. And the result of the vote would be to show one way or another that people in Chazy would really like to have the Clark House, or they don't want it at all. And that's what the board of the Minor Museum needs to find out.
How soon do you want this vote?
Well, the deadline that the Alice T. Minor collection faces is November 19th. That's because that's the end of the year that Dr. Clark's will entered probate. So I'd say the sooner the better, but of course, we have to advertise it and that sort of thing.
So have you gone into utilizing the whole house to, and for what use?
Yes, I think so. We've got a pretty good plan to use it. Well, Dr. Clark's will wants a museum there, but it's flexible enough so other things could happen, like to make it a community building. People could have a wedding reception there, for instance, or there could be lectures, concerts, things like that.
So what we'd have to do is set up a separate tax district
Mm,
The
for that.
district would be the
That's
whole,
what I-
No.
Yeah, you had emailed me, Bob, I did get it, I didn't get to do really any research beyond, I mean, district formation is something that could happen for certain types of things. I didn't know enough about it from what Mr. Martin had written an email to you, and thought I'd wait to hear more about it tonight. I don't know what procedure was followed with the Dodge Memorial Library, but, you know, for parks, for instance, you can set up special districts. And it would be subject, if the board was inclined to do something like that, those types of districts are subject to permissive referendum. If there's a petition by the taxpayers in that district, then you have a vote.
Now this,
But this is different than that, and it's funding,
this would come off the tax roll, right?
well, that's what Mr. Martin suggested, sure, it'd be taxed, just like any other district. I mean, if you have a lighting district, if you have a,
Yeah.
you know,
No, well, a tax to fund it, but I mean.
sure, I mean, if you have a water and sewer, the same thing that you did when you formed water and sewer districts here.
Yeah,
I
what
just
I'm
don't
saying is
see
off the
that
tax
this would
roll
necessarily.
itself.
What's that?
I mean, off the tax roll
Come
itself.
on.
The house
The
will.
house.
Yeah.
The house will come
the
off.
house, sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be a.
Yeah, that's what I was referring
It
to.
would be owned by a not-for-profit, I assume that would have exempt status.
Yes, and the way the will reads, it's going to be off the tax roll for years at the most, because if the Alstine minor refuses the bequest, then it goes to the County Historical Association, which is another
That
tax
would be
incentive.
another.
And if they refuse, then it goes on to McGill University and Union College. And the lawyers for the estate, Ed Trombley, says all of these changes beyond the Alice T. Minor collection will have to go through the surrogates court, and that means a long time. And ultimately, if all of these people refuse it, I guess it ends up with McGill and Union, who would sell it. And then it would come back on the tax roll, but that wouldn't be
It
immediate.
would be.
And I would think though, in the meantime, it's probably still on the tax rolls, I will say.
It is now, yes.
Until it actually gets transferred to a tax exempt organization. So while all this process was going on, it's still on the tax rolls.
Now, any of the other museums that you visited, I know in Middlebury and there's another one that you did, are they in a similar situation where they have formed a district, or is that where you got this idea from, or?
Well, we actually got our idea from the West Chazy Library for this particular request that we're making, because we really need to find out how the people in Chazy feel, and we need to stabilize the financing of the house, and this would do that if people accepted it. If they refuse it, well then, we know just where we stand, and the LST minor would know where it stood. I don't, there wouldn't have to be a district, I think, it just would be the town.
Well, it would be a townwide district as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Would this be done by like a mailing, or are you talking us doing it at the actual election on November 3rd or 4th?
Oh, well, it would be a special vote, and what the West Chazy Library did was, and again, we need the advice of the town council for this, but we'd advertise it, and we're a little uncertain if it's 45 days or 90 days. Some length of time, people have to know about it. And then there would be a polling place, probably two, here, and let's say the West Chazy Town Hall. And the Clark House Board would have to hire a couple of, whatever the legal thing is, for people to run the polls. And then people would just come in. We get the list of voters from the Board of Elections, and people would come in and vote. It wouldn't be tied in with any other vote, but we'd have to make sure everybody knew what was happening.
Anything, no, I mean, is that something we can do with something that the town doesn't own, or?
Not from what I've looked at, but I'm willing to look at it further and see what was done with the Dodge Memorial Library, but you're talking, I think, it's about forming a district, and if it's a townwide district, that's fine. It wouldn't be electors in the town, you would not be, people that are entitled to vote on that are property owners, not just residents of the town, or, voters in the town. Because its property owners are gonna be affected by their tax roll, property taxes. But certainly we can look at it, understanding what's happening here, what's being proposed. The Memorial Library may have been a little, again, might be something different because it was formed as it's a public library, or free. I assume any residents of the district can go in and use it for free, but we can look at it. Understanding what they're proposing to do.
What they determined there, they took the people in the town of Chazy, property owners in the town of Chazy that weren't a part of the Chazy Library
I see.
district,
Mhm.
and they made
A district.
Right.
But if you look at districts, at least,
They own.
it's all under Article 12 of the town law, it just doesn't really reference even library, but parks, a park would be the closest thing to something like that. But you can have a district within the town and establish a park within a certain district, or townwide, it can be townwide.
I think Kevin Downs was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much involved in that.
He was the one that
Yes.
spearheaded that.
Yeah.
He was president of the board at the time.
So he would be
Right.
probably the one to contact to exactly what,
Oh, he did it.
how he did it,
Well,
who he went through.
Because he came.
And you
what-
probably know
I
just as
think
much
Bill
about
needs
it.
to go through and find the process.
Well, Jim Groton also
He was
knows
treasurer
very
and,
much, both he and Kevin.
Yeah.
I've done a lot with district formations, and not for this particular purpose. So I'll look at it.
When can you have a special election, or can you have it at any given time, or do you have to
Normally,
get
there's
public
a,
notice?
it depends, I mean, again, with district formation, you know, once you approve or establish the district, there's a 30-day period where someone has to file a petition for a referendum. And then the guidelines are how, I think you have to have it from the date you receive the petition within, actually, 45 to 90 days. You know, is when you hold your special election. You have to set it, the board has some discretion as to when to set it. It has to be more than 45 after you receive the petition, and not more than 90 days. But, you know, all that's district formation. This is very different, because you're not really, you're supporting a not-for-profit corporation here through taxes. I'm not so sure. I didn't see anything, and I only looked at it for a little while, not really understanding what was being, what kind of, who would own this entity. What I'm hearing is it's the museum that's gonna hold it, and then they're gonna lease it to a not-for-profit that's gonna run it.
I'll do is I'll keep in touch with Bill and email you with any results or suggestions that he comes up with.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Anybody else like to address the board? Okay, we'll close the public comment session. Or one more person, we'll put you next. We have a gentleman, Glenn Michaels from the Attorney General's office, who has a presentation for us on the Sunlight Project.
Very good. If you don't mind my sitting, that would be helpful. I'm Glenn Michaels from the New York State Attorney General's office. I'm an Assistant Attorney General, which sounds impressive until you realize there's 650 of us. However, covering Clinton, Essex, and Franklin County, there are just two of us. And one of the things that we've been trying to do at the Attorney General's office, and I'm sure this board can relate to, is trying to do the same as we have been or more with less, that is with fewer resources. And public education is one of our big pushes here. And we've been trying to do less in the way of litigation, which is very expensive to do in court, as you may be familiar with, and more toward setting up systems to make the law in government work better. One of the projects is called Project Sunlight, or sunlightny.com. The Attorney General's office does bring litigation to enforce public integrity, to make sure that elected officials and state and local government employees are doing what the law requires. However, one of the best ways we've found to make sure that that happens is by giving the public the tools they need to follow the money, so to speak. And so Sunlight NY, or sunlightnewyork.com, is a website that takes a lot of public databases. They've always been publicly available, but put them in an easily accessed form so that local government officials like yourselves, or ordinary citizens from their home or from the public library, wherever there's a computer connected to the internet, can help to understand local government and see how the money flows through it, and to hold governmental officials accountable for that. This is not a political thing. It operates for Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, family, workers' party, whatever, or no party at all. Sunlightny.com, one of the things we've done, if you log on to the site, up in the upper right-hand corner that I've circled, has project resources. If you want to find out how New York government works, or at least how it's supposed to work, those two can be different. You can access any of these particular sites. Here's a glossary of terms that are regularly used in state government. You can, for example, find out how a bill becomes law, how member items work, how lobbying or money is, or elections are managed. And if you're like some teenagers in my household who won't crack a book, but they will look at YouTube continually, we've provided videos so that you can actually click on any of these videos on how member items work, or lobbying is regulated, or the basics of New York State government, and watch a video. One of the things that we use a lot on the site are maps, and that makes it very easy to use. You just click on maps, and we have a map of local officials, and when you click on that, your favorite county, Clinton County, we have a list of all of the town and county-wide officials, and there we have Supervisor Staub Spiegel, along with, I hope we have the address and phone number correct. If we don't, there's a way to let me know, and we'll get that changed. And we have a link to the official website of the town. It takes you right to there. Town of Chazy has a very nice website. And if to search here, all you have to do from the home page is type in any term. I've just, sorry, Supervisor Spiegel, but that's the joy of being supervisor. You have name recognition, so I type that in. Under finance filers, good news and bad news. The good news is you didn't have enough campaign contributions to register with the state election board. The bad news is you didn't have enough campaign contributions. But if we click on finance database, we see that a list of where different campaign organizations that received or gave money to Supervisor Spiegel. If I typed in Chazy at the top, and it brought up under campaign finance the Town of Chazy Republican Committee and the Chazy Democratic Committee. Over on the right there, if you just click on Export Filer Reported Transactions, click on that, and it downloads all of the information on file. And I just pulled out some on what's come in and gone out of the Chazy Republican Committee, various expenditures and contributions. You can do the same with the Democrats. With the same term up top, Chazy, I clicked on the tab for lobbyists. I don't see any lobbyists who've been hired by the town of Chazy, not that you necessarily need one. When I click on state corporations, I find state-registered corporations that have Chazy in their name. And when I click on state contracts, it'll bring up any organization that contracts with the state that has Chazy in it. And here we see that the Chazy Fire District and the Chazy UFSD, and I'm not sure what that is, have contracts with the state of New York. The idea is that you can see how money is flowing through your community here.
It's a school.
Okay, school district, very good. Member items. When I click on member items, I see that the town of Chazy has not received a member item. You know, that is a discretionary allocation that a state legislator can make for any public or a quasi-public purpose. If we click on maps, we have a map of member items, and click on Clinton County, it shows all of the towns in Clinton County which have gotten a member item allocation. How could that be useful for this organization, the town board here, if you were interested, in, for example, in applying for a member item for this house or for some other public purpose? You can go and look at what has been allocated by our elected officials to various causes. And when you click on where it says View More Info at the right, for example, Town of Black Brook, you can see what their member item was given for, and there's a phone number so that you can contact them, find out, so that if you're interested in applying for a member item, you can use this as a tool to increase your chances of getting a member item. The idea here is this is unlike the usual case of state government coming in and imposing more requirements on the town without providing funding for it. We're providing a resource at no additional cost. I don't say it's free. You and I have already paid for this resource with your and my tax dollars, and it's actually very low cost to maintain this website. When I type in charities, it brings up a list of all charitable organizations that have Chazy in their name. And I just picked one at random, the Chazy After School Program. All not-for-profit organizations with certain exemptions for religious organizations and other regulated ones have to register with the Attorney General's office and provide detailed disclosure. If you click on that original source link, it will take you to that information, and it gives us the tax ID number and various state registration numbers for the Chazy After School Program. On there, you can reference their annual filings with the state. Those are very detailed. In fact, contains their reported budget, expenditures, how much their board members make. They're not making a lot of money. And you can use that at the local level. If, for example, as we heard of here, the town or various government entities are partnering these days with not-for-profit organizations, again with the idea of trying to do more with fewer resources, you can use this to look at the background of a not-for-profit organization that you may be thinking of entering into a partnership with of some sort. There's a lot of information about state government, which has an effect on us all. I typed in under elected officials Elizabeth Little, our state senator, and we find her contact information, what government committees she serves on. When we click on sponsored legislation, it'll show all bills that she sponsored. I happen to pick one. She proposed in the last session an amendment to the New York State Constitution which would make compliance with unfunded mandates voluntary for local governments. In other words, if the state says that to the town, you have to do something, but doesn't provide the money for it, the town would feel free to say yes or no, we'll follow it. Good luck, Senator Little, in getting that actually passed. From that, again, the idea here is that this is all publicly available information, but we make it easy to follow this through. If you go on a piece of legislation, you can click on down below on View Bill Details, and next to it you'll see that who lobbied on the bill. When I click on Bill Details, it'll give us a detailed description of the bill, what it does. And when we click on who lobbied it, we can see that the City of White Plains lobbied on this amendment to the Constitution, and the Civil Service Employees Political Action Fund lobbied it. How much did they spend lobbying on it? We don't have an exact breakdown of which bill they were lobbying for and against. But during the time that this was being considered by the Senate, that particular organization spent almost $40,000 on lobbying. The idea is here you can use this as a tool to follow the money, see how the money is flowing through state government and to some lesser extent local government. We are adding new information all the time. Last year, about this time, folks said, gee, you don't have the state budget on here, why don't you add it? We added it right away. We would add it this year, except we don't have a budget yet. It's one of the things that's very important with this site. If you use it and you see that there are certain things that you think are inaccurate, or if you see things that aren't there that you would like there, or things that are there that you would not like there, the site is constantly changing in accordance with input from the public, and especially local officials. This is designed as a tool to make your job, which is a hard one, easier. And one of the things that's important to know about this site for local citizens is that unlike Amazon.com or almost any commercial website, our privacy policy provides that we don't even keep track of what computer is accessing the site. The idea is you should be able to look at Big Brother without Big Brother looking at you. This is a part of the Attorney General's website, which we are using as an education tool. It's hard to remember the web address, www.ag, which stands for attorneygeneral.ny.gov, but if you search for NY Attorney General, it'll take you there. And we have lots of different kinds of things on our general website. One of them I wanted to alert you to is, we were talking earlier about a special taxing district. New York has over 10,500 separate governmental districts. We're not sure exactly how many, but it's somewhere over 10,000. One of the pieces of legislation that Senator Little introduced and the Attorney General seconded there and pushed through is a Government Reform Act that makes it easier for local districts to either dissolve, to combine, or to share services. It's made it a lot easier for them to operate more efficiently, to voluntarily dissolve or combine or share services. It also, that's the carrot. The stick is that it's also made it a lot easier for citizens to file petitions to force local government entities to dissolve, combine, or share services. And no matter who you are, a town or a village or a citizen, you can click on each of these and it'll tell you how to use this particular law, and we have more things like that. The idea here is that the web is a way for us to make resources available at low cost to meet your needs, and if you find a need that's not being met for it, we want to hear about it, because the idea is that we will try to develop that for you. A word from our sponsor, the Attorney General's office in Plattsburgh. Our phone number, 562-3288. That's our you will not get a number that says, punch 37 for this, 69 for that, 87 for this. No, you call that number, you'll have a real person between 8:30 and 5, and you won't get an answering machine, and you can ask for Bob or Glenn. We're the two attorneys. I'm Glenn. And one of the things that we wanted to emphasize, if you have a question about state government, our office represents all areas of state government in court, so we know all of them. We may not know the answer to your question, but we will usually know who knows the answer. And if any of your citizens in the town of Chazy have a consumer complaint, it could be something as simple as someone calling in with a relative who thinks they've won $400,000 in the European lottery and wants to know if they should send that $10,000 to the Caribbean to pay the taxes. Call us. We keep track of all of the scams going on, and if you have a toaster or that is not working and the merchant doesn't want to fix it, we will entertain consumer complaints and have a very successful rate in mediating those consumer complaints. So we're here to serve you, and I appreciate the chance to talk to you and to meet you all this evening. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we go down the line, we'll see what everybody has tonight. Let's start Bucket. Welcome Bucket back after a brief illness. It's nice to see you back, Bucket.
Glad to be back. No, I got a few things, you don't have to enter them tonight. I was just thinking, fire hydrants, I noticed some of them are getting a little rusty, and maybe we can look ahead on that, and check out the pump stations for rust or anything on control panels. Because they've been there for a few years, and I was thinking maybe if we could get lucky, maybe we could get a Eagle Scout possibly to use that as a project. And down at the new bathroom, we had discussed putting some kind of a barrier up to give it a little more privacy to the when you're entering the bathroom from the cement section.
Oh,
Did we ever,
I know what you're talking about.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We had some complaints on,
Yeah.
that
We
last
can
time.
take care of that.
And were you gonna add any of the, Jim West made some stuff for the rec parks?
Yeah, I think we did that previous meeting, but I can, if everybody goes down to the rec parks in Chazy, West Chazy and Scioto. Remember we had the fire, we had some items that Jim West had made out of wood, and that was done, and they're all installed now. So you can go down and take a peek.
And we weren't gonna add any this year though?
No.
No, okay. And the wish list. Did you get a reply from the March? Not yet. And I was curious, we don't hear about this anymore, because it used to go through us, now they don't. Are we aware of any land being set aside for ever farming in this year's go around?
Haven't been advised of any. There's a number of farms on, well, there's a number of farms on the list, but
Brown has, well,
just hasn't, nothing's been
yeah,
approved.
they don't
And I
have,
don't think the money's there this year, and I don't think that you'll see anything going forward from this year in the budget passed.
and, yeah, Louis.
Yeah.
As I'm slowing down a little bit, I've been doing this for 2-3 years. And when I go up to the landfill, I always check the metal bin. And I find mailboxes that are in fairly good shape. Some of them just need a little paint, some of them don't need anything. And this is a no rules for anybody because people are given mailboxes, new ones, they take the old one down, toss it away. So I've been picking them up, I've been distributing them to, nobody knew I was doing it, but I was doing it. But anyway, I've been distributing them. So I thought maybe I would continue doing the mailbox pickup, give them to you,
Fine,
And-
then we can use
and that would save the town from having to purchase some when the boys get a little tight. You know, and that's unavoidable. No, it's unavoidable, and I'll continue doing that. And that's about it.
Take a look at, Kathy?
Welcome back, Happy to have you. Where are we with the valve at school? I know we had ordered one part, right?
Yeah, Morris Coolidge is coming on the 19th of this month to meet with the fire department, just to ask questions about their procedures of filling trucks up at the fire department. So that's our next step, is we're meeting on the 19th at, I believe, 8 o'clock or 8:30 in the morning, right at the fire department with the guy from Rural Water. He has an idea, and he just wants to do a little investigating with the fire department and how they fill trucks, et cetera, to see if there's a certain procedure being done, and because they have their meetings on Monday nights, and it seems like we always seem to have something happen around Monday, so we're not sure. We just want to go down and ask a bunch of questions, so, but he's got some ideas. It might be a procedure that they're doing, or, and they might be doing everything correctly, we don't know.
So it might not have anything to do with the valve at school, why we're having the problems with the water and sewer with the
It
building?
may not be. This
Okay.
is just another thing he wants to check out.
But I think what she asked, is it installed completely? The
No.
valve at school?
No, I
No,
mean,
we didn't,
we stopped,
we stopped
right?
the installation.
Right,
Okay.
so,
Until we find
Because it
out
was-
more from the fire department of what their procedure is, and we're trying to just find out where the gushes of water are coming from, and so
Okay,
we're meeting on the 19th.
okay. Any problems with water and sewer? Has everything been going
Knock on wood,
fine? Okay,
no complaints lately.
great. The station bill, any progress with that?
No.
No.
I believe Carolyn did come though, and she, asked the other day about, what procedure she needs to do to turn the line over to the town. So I think she'll be coming very soon to the town and asking that we take over that line.
Tennis courts, for Chazy, nothing from Beaton Town School?
No. I called them, emailed them. In fact, Tom, Tatro got a hold of Mr. Amos again, and he was supposed to have a meeting with his board again 5 or 6 days ago. Still no response yet.
So what will we do with it? Because I know we have a little bit of money in the budget for it, correct? To repair the tennis courts, didn't we put a little bit of money in the budget for that?
Not really. We didn't budget anything this year.
Oh, okay.
If we do anything, we'd have to budget a certain amount for next year. I mean, if we want to do it ourselves, if we don't get any help from Beaton Town, but at this time, we don't have anything set aside for it.
Okay, but the school is still using the tennis courts?
Oh, yes, they will be. I assume they will be. I mean, they usually do every spring. They call someone to make sure the nets are up, and
Okay.
we did have, to be honest with you, I just want to bring it to the board's attention, at the planning board meeting, at last planning board meeting, one of the members was just telling us how bad a shape the tennis court is, and, you know, that they use it, and there's a lot of people over there that use it. Actually, I was amazed at, she says, there's a lot of people that use that tennis court and basketball courts, and she says it's in bad shape. And it's just too bad to see it go to waste, and I said, well, we're working on it, we're trying to decide what we want to do, but, so it's nice to hear that it's getting used, because
So maybe in the budget next year, we need to look closer at that? and possibly get some money to have it repaired. Any word from Mr. Seymour with his problem? Is he going to come to the board to?
Oh, no, he, from the last I talked to him, he came and talked to me like a couple days after the board meeting. He put some additional lines in on his property, and the health department was supposed to come and take a look at it and see if everything was going smoothly or smoother, and I haven't heard a word. He was hoping that would take care of it, so he did add some additional lineage, and I haven't heard a word from him.
For him, good. I noticed a letter in my packet about the house up on Marna Farm Road with the cellar and the water in it. Do you know if he's
It's all taken care of.
taking care of it?
Yep, and it's filled in with sand right now. Property actually looks quite good, a lot better. It's been cleaned up. Just to let the board know though, it got resold again. So I just wanted to let you know that Pat Ayers came to me today and just wanted to let you know that it got sold again after he cleaned it up and everything. He must have resold it, so. So we have the name that was in the transactions, the property transactions, and a new owner's name is Thomas Blukes. So, one more time.
And when we were at the planning board committee meeting, discussion was held about a little bit of discussion about possibly forming a historical committee to look at the homes within the town that were deemed as historical. And I didn't know if that was anything that this board was going to look into further, or if we were just going to sit on it.
I think it's up to the property owner or the entity like Chazy Public Library or the museum. I think the museum had applied to go on a historical, didn't they tell us that
Well,
a year or so ago?
The only thing I don't think that we worked on was the pump house.
She worked on a pump house, and I don't think that was eligible.
Not that we had been told that the museum was going for a historical.
The impression I got was it might be better, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, it might be better if we formed a committee to look at the places within the town that had historical value and to then decide whether or not that was something we would like to do. Was I wrong?
Well, you got it.
Did I?
You got
I
it.
think I kind of heard that too, but is that the town board's place to?
I think
Create
there is
that?
something in, when I was
Yeah.
looking at this other issue for the museum or the Clark House, there is something that can be done in the formation of and under the direction or at the, the town board level.
Through the town?
Yep.
Okay.
But it's a historical committee to report and file reports about properties within the town.
But that can cause a lot of restrictions to homeowners though.
Well, you may not want it.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
no, I fully understand that, and I agree, but it doesn't mean that we have to
Well,
target homes. I
It
mean,
also could mean funding for them, too.
I just think that we have some really, some buildings with historical value, and if we don't do something,
You're gonna
anybody
feel,
could buy
you're gonna
it, come
feel
in, tear it down, do whatever they want. And I'm just wondering if we should possibly
they should be recorded.
look in, at
But
least
she's
look
saying
into
it
it.
should be recorded, like not who looked at this place.
But again, I realize what you're saying, it will put restrictions on homeowners. And my thought of that is, so we just don't opt to put that house.
Well, maybe we can form a committee and decide which buildings we want to talk to the owners of and say, would you like us to pursue it?
But I think sometimes when you get a historic society, it affects the surrounding homes as well as far as what they can do for betterments and improvements as well. Is
Well, in
that-
all
how would it
honesty,
affect
with our zoning laws,
All
we
they are is,
already have that. We are limited as to what we can do on our own property. It's not just, a place that has historical value. I mean,
But, then if somebody wants to sell, I guess it would be to each homeowner's discretion, because if they wanted to sell their home, the new homeowner's gonna have to realize if it has a certain type of window, that's what they have to replace
right,
it with.
again, as Bob just said, we can approach them and say, do you have an interest in being a part of this? And if not, then.
I think some of it, Chris, is just being recorded as a historic place.
It's quite a
By-
procedure.
by-
Isn't there a book,
by
Dave,
now.
out on that?
Yeah, there are two books that touch on different buildings in the town,
Right.
and then there are markers on some other ones. But I don't know that anybody's ever actually made like a catalog or an inventory.
Yeah, I'm certainly not proposing that we force anybody to do anything. I'm just, saying with places like the little library over here, if it's,
it's an older place. It was here, one of the first ones, all you're doing is registering it and,
Well, it's quite a procedure to do it.
Yeah,
It's a lengthy procedure, but I think that if we got a little committee together and got a list of the people we'd like to approach and say, the board feels that you should possibly think about putting this on a historical listing and keeping it forever historical. I mean,
what's the
I
one
don't know
up
if
in
it's
Burke? No, that's the library.
What's that?
Alonzo Wilder.
Yeah. Now that one's too extreme. Well, not too extreme, but it's,
Well, that's set up more like a museum.
right.
Yeah.
But you're working backwards a little bit from what Kathy's saying.
It was just a thought, at the meeting, I just felt that it's something that it might be time that we as a board at least look into it. That's all I have.
Go ahead.
Terry?
Just a couple of things. Back to the tennis courts, is, for the cracks or whatever that are in there, if we're not gonna try to do anything major this year, which we didn't budget for, could we get somebody in there to at least put something in the cracks so that the rest of the summer and the winter, the water isn't getting in there underneath?
What kind of a surface did we put on that last time?
Asphalt, isn't it? It's asphalt,
Was it?
but I mean, there was a coating put on it, but that's all gone.
No, there was a
There's
coating.
hardly any paint left.
So get like that.
But there's some
asphalt
big
sealer.
cracks in it, and the grass is starting to grow up through it, and
We'll have,
so maybe at least.
what if we have Tom go and look at it and see if there's
Fill
something
some
that
of
we
the
can.
cracks to stop the water, at least from getting under it.
You got stuff for that, Dick?
When it was my turn, I was gonna mention that I could be doing some crack sealing this year, through Garmin, and it might be something they'd be interested in doing for us if it's a small job. I would be more than willing to take the individual up and show them and see if we could do something with it or get a price from them at least.
Right.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Seeing they'll be here in town anyway.
Right.
Great.
The other thing, going down to the rec park, where all that gravel is, where they put the new building in, or wherever, I don't know, has anybody approached you from the fire station to see if there's any leftover asphalt for that little area?
Leftover asphalt.
No, there's never any, when you're doing the roads?
Jerry, what happens is if you get some, a ton, it's something,
It's not
just-
enough to
right.
bother. Okay.
But that's the other
Because
good.
it kind of looks.
That's the other good news. The asphalt's, I'm getting ahead of everything else there. It's dropped down almost $12 a ton this year,
Oh,
so.
wow.
Great.
Great.
So we should, that's why I wanted some cracks on, but anyway.
Yeah, right. Any other news on Pfizer? Any of your meetings, anything?
I've been to a couple of meetings. There still is somebody looking at it. It's really a long shot at this point. It's not looking good. We were very fortunate though. Pfizer did get a hold of us. They've been giving away truckloads of things in their plant, like desk chairs, all kinds of supplies. They've been giving it to BOCES, all the schools, and they did call us, and we went over there and we got a ton of office supplies, rubber gloves we're getting rubber gloves for the wastewater treatment plant, which will save us tons of money for years. We got a bunch of office equipment totally free, you name it. We got staplers and binders and folders. I mean, it's gonna save us a lot of money in office supplies, so we're really grateful to at least Pfizer for calling us and letting us know that there was, supply available, and they were very nice to us.
Previously, we got some cages for our
Yeah,
dog crates.
I asked about that, and anything that's valued over $1,000 is considered an asset.
Yeah.
One thing to let you know, and which Sue caught, which was really good, was, I don't know if you know, but our crossing guard sign got stolen out here on Route 9. We found part of it, but the other part is gone, but Pfizer has one in their parking lot, and we asked that we take that one when they get, if everything, and so she marked us down for that, so we'll get another one for free, so.
Were those bolted to
Somebody
the
hit it?
asphalt?
They get that.
Now, they're 50 pounds, how'd they get it?
Did they hit it, or?
They had to have hit it, we don't know if a truck hit it and dragged it, that's what we're thinking. They're pretty heavy, and part of it was found over at the Riverside Cemetery. Is it Riverview? Riverside?
Riverside.
Somebody found part of it and brought it back to the town, but it was just one side and it looked like it'd been run over. And the rest of it we never found. The one over here is still there, but we will be getting another one from Pfizer, so,
And they are expensive.
yeah, they're
Our insurance cover that?
not with our deductible the way it is.
Mhm.
So anyway,
So they haven't allowed the committee yet to do anything? or-
nothing. We just got updated the other day and not much news to really report. They're still working with people, trying to work with the employees to find them jobs. And there's another layoff coming up in June, and that's pretty much gonna be it.
They're not saying anything of what they're,
They're still in talks with another company, but it's a real long shot at this
no,
point, they said.
their final decision, they haven't made that yet.
So, but the place is really emptying out. I went the other day and we got our supplies and there's not a lot going on there. The old division is shut down, the chemist is all shut down. There's probably, I don't know how many employees left, but not a lot, and that next wave is pretty much gonna do it. I think by July, it's gonna be pretty empty except for a couple maintenance people and that's it.
They could at least, well, they're gonna have to maintain the building until they haven't looked for investors in it.
Well, they've been pursuing it heavily for quite a while, but Pfizer did it all themselves. They don't want competition in
I
there.
was just going to say.
They'll allow a contractor that works for them in there, but, to maintain a building like that, a lot of money. It's a huge, huge building.
Is there a point where they're gonna allow the town and the county and the
I
Chamber of
think-
Commerce to
Yes,
really?
and I think that's coming soon. I think that's coming real soon where, things are gonna be turning in another direction. I can't say a lot right now, but
Right.
But we'll be,
So we could get to that point where we could be involved in marketing.
we'll be limited as to how we can use that building. Because again, Pfizer's not going to allow us to put anybody in there. That would be a direct on.
Well, no,
So.
yeah,
Oh,
no, that's understandable.
unfortunately, I sad to report that, but
yeah.
I think that's it.
Chris?
A few items. First of all, I hope all the moms out there had a good Mother's Day. I hope everybody enjoyed our summer and how we're doing with putting the plows in the truck and stuff, Dickie. 'Cause
Hopefully they're away for good now.
you said that last time, and all of a sudden I saw you put one on last
We had 'em all on.
week. So, Tom Sears gave me a call and indicated that he was going to come to the meeting, but there was no news, no different news from the county, so he decided not to come.
He also called me.
And me.
in
You didn't call me?
Kathy went over the valve. I had on here about the pedestrian sign being taken down or missing. Bubba Badger gave me a call and mentioned that he would be willing to mow the sidewalks in Scioto again this year if the board was okay with that. I think it looks nicer when he does that, so the board has no problems. I'll contact Bubba and tell him it's a nice gesture on his part. Any word on the painting of the water tower
the bids are gonna be open on the 27th.
on the 27th? And that's all that I have.
Do we have a meeting on the 27th?
No, we just put in, because we wanted to open them before the meeting. We're gonna do it before the meetings and kind of review them and everything, make sure everything goes according to specs. And
Public is invited. That's,
Gonna be held here at the town hall at like 10 in the morning.
right.
Is that it, Chris?
That's it.
Dick?
Well, my stuff's pretty well done. Asphalt, down $12 a ton. We're gonna be crack sealing, it's a way of preserving, our roads, a lot of them aren't in real bad shape, except I think Jared or someone mentioned last year, when the grass is growing up in between. The road is really not bad, but the longer we let that crack expand, the worse it's gonna get. So we could probably gain maybe 5 to 7 years through a crack seal program, so we don't have to do the paving as quickly, as long as we don't have what they call alligatoring, where the pavement is breaking up, looks like an alligator back. So we're gonna try that. I'm gonna be spending about $35,000 on that this year for Data Road, Ashley Road, and part of Slauson Road. Excuse me, the south part of Ashley, we're not gonna do, because that's in too bad a shape to spend money on. We'll pave that eventually.
What roads are you looking at paving this year?
Right now, I gotta redo my ciphering, because I was going at $52 a ton for what we were gonna do before the prices. We just got these last week. But Minkler Road, from Minor Farm to Lake Shore, that section. Probably the Forest Road, Blair Road, and we're gonna try to see what we got left for some shorter streets here in Chazy.
What's the outcome of the Ingraham Road? Has that been finalized yet, or
I
what?
haven't heard a word.
Nothing. I think they're just kind of holding off, and every time I call him and ask him, he says nothing's been done yet, so. They're just not really pushing the issue, I guess. They're still paying us, right, Dick?
Yes, we're still on,
Now that,
we're on last year's contract, so,
the crack sealing Gormans,
yes, they
they
have.
come do that, or do they work with you?
We
to do
have
it,
to
or-
supply traffic control.
Right.
They do all
And
the,
they do the rest?
yes,
Is the Ashley Road included in that? Dick?
yes,
Okay.
except for the south part, from Stratton Hill south. Because it's, like I say, it's in pretty bad shape, that
Yeah,
needs
it is.
some shimming and repaving.
Could I just ask why, and it's definitely your call to make, but why we would entertain paving the Minkler Road when it's a seasonal road at this
Oh,
time?
no, the other end.
That goes by.
Right.
The
Yeah,
other end,
Lake
the
Shore
one that
Road.
looked like Trey.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Right church, wrong pew.
Okay, I was thinking. the
But that will
other
need
end.
some work, and also, we will have to spend a little bit of money on that, because we don't want to let that pavement completely deteriorate, so.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dick. Bill?
The only thing I have is, you sent me, Stav, a list, I think, in response to something I said I had sent about the Time Warner
Yep.
franchise renewal.
Yep.
You sent me that list, I've sent it on, I haven't received a response, I
I
don't
was
know if you
gonna ask you
received
about that.
it.
Anything, nothing from Pfizer on the Article 7s either?
No, you had suggested, I can't really call I can't call their officers or anything, I guess they have a new vice president or something, I have to deal with the attorney, and nothing from them. I would assume they're not receiving any word back from Pfizer either, about discontinuing the Article 7 proceedings.
Wasn't I able to drop those? They're the ones that,
No, I think that
because of
Pfizer became the successor, so, yeah, they've taken over everything, all of those as well. After 4 years, they're deemed abandoned anyway, so we may be approaching some
Oh,
of the
yeah.
earlier ones like that.
It was there since I've been out.
Okay, so after 4 years, those are gone, and each year they have to do another one. It'll be interesting to see what they do this year. And maybe it'll give you a hint as to whether they do continue to, or plan to continue to object to those assessments.
I just have a few items tonight. We did receive a thank you note from the American Legion for the donation that we give them each year for help buying flags, so we got a thank you note from that. Want to remind everybody also, while I'm speaking about the American Legion, about the Memorial Day Parade, May 30th, here in Chazy. Starts at noon. I believe they start at the rec park and they head south down Route 9 until they hit the orchard, so I'd love to see a lot of people out on the streets, and if anybody has or wants to donate their help, I know the American Legion is looking for people to volunteer time to help with the parade, and obviously they're looking for people to participate in the parade, whether it be a float or a band or anything at all, so if anybody has any ideas, I would think that, just get a hold of the American Legion here in Chazy or Steve Bowman, I know he's in charge of the parade, so, he would really appreciate some help. I would like to thank Chazy Westport Telephone Company. We have an emergency management committee who has been working on the plan for, I guess it's been almost 4 years now. And we're getting right to the end now, and Chazy Westport was very gracious in coming into the town hall, and if you look on all the walls here, a few weeks ago, they installed telephone lines. And I believe we have 6 lines now that in case of an emergency, this is going to be the command center. And we would have phones being able to be hooked up on each location so people can talk and not be at one table, but they did this totally free. Really, really appreciate that. Nice gesture on their part, so we really want to thank them. We did have some members of the Clinton County Jail come to our rec park here in Chazy this week, actually Friday, and they did clean up for us. We had 3 members come, and they did raking and picking up garbage and sticks, and Tom Roberts said they did a fantastic job. Jerry Dino, and you're gonna have Tom Tatro, I guess, are getting a crew that's gonna be doing some work in the West Chazy Park on the 15th of May, and I'm sure that they would appreciate any help that,
Anybody's welcome.
yes.
It's this weekend.
8 to noon, yep.
So, just wanted to mention that, the parks are getting into good shape and being mowed now, and so, we appreciate the help from the Clinton County Jail and all their members. And, let's see here. Oh, we do have a request from Pat Ayers to go to more schooling. And, let me see what day she's going here. I don't know if she gave you a copy of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did.
Okay, so I will need to do a resolution for that, for her to attend schooling. It gives her credits toward what she needs every year. And the cost is $90.
Yeah, something like that.
Wasn't much.
Okay. And so we'll do a resolution on that tonight. We do have an idea for a vault, just to throw at you tonight real quick. Won't go into big detail, but we were talking and actually thinking that maybe converting the maintenance room into a vault. We went in and measured, and it would be a little bit larger than what we have now, not a huge difference, but it would give inside access to a vault, and basically you put cinder blocks all the way around, put the heating system in, pour a block ceiling, and I think we could do it pretty reasonably rather than construct a whole new building. So that's an idea that we're going to toss around and see if the board, we do have some drawings that Mr. West got us from the Moore's vault, and I think it's kind of doable. We went in and did some measuring, and that would definitely save us a lot of money if, rather than doing the combination of the entranceway and a brand new vault. Basically, Leo would just have to go down the hallway, and the door would be right there in the kitchen, and go right into the vault. So there's a heating system in there already. That would save us for temperature control. And just wanted to bring it to your attention. We'll get more detail maybe at the next meeting, but it might be a real cost savings.
So will we leave the entrance and everything else just the way that it is?
No, well, we'd like to redo the entrance too, to make it more presentable, but just doing the entrance, it won't be nearly as expensive as doing the combination.
And will the offices remain the way that they are now? So we won't do any configuration with the offices at all? Everything will remain the same?
At this time,
Just the
that's what we're
doorway in the
thinking.
kitchen.
And constructing the room into total cement, so it's completely fireproof. Our garage out here is in dire need of a roof. It leaks really, really bad. When it rains, it pours in there. I know Tom was mentioning that we probably would put a metal roof on it. And I think that he mentioned something about we might need some new trusses, not really sure, but what I'll do for the next meeting is have him compile a list of what he's gonna need and see what kind of cost we're looking at. But
I
that's-
thought there was talk as far as making that smaller so we'd be able to do the snow removal right in the back.
Well,
towards the
if we
river.
do the vault in that maintenance room, that whole section where the vault is now, we could take it
Can
out.
open up.
Would that be the area to
Get
push
it
the
up.
snow that way?
Yep.
Yeah.
Both the stucco buildings and the end will come
And
off.
that would eliminate that problem.
Because the big building has a flat roof on it, so you need
Yeah, it needs some repair really bad, it really.
So it has to be,
I'd like to get on that hopefully by this summer or the end of the summer because we got all our Christmas decorations in there and I mean, it's leaking really bad. It's been patched throughout the years and stuff, but it's not holding anymore, I mean, it just pours in there, it's pretty bad.
And we still got those floats in there out from the Triton.
No, we cleaned that thing out, I don't think there's much left in there.
Where'd they go?
The floats, are there any floats in there still? I don't think so, I think they're gone, I think that we just got rid of them, I don't know where we brought them, to be honest with you, but that thing's been cleaned up like that.
Well, I hope somebody utilized them.
I don't know what Tom did with it, to be
Toss them
honest with
away.
you. Maybe they're in a corner, maybe the floats are in a corner, but the rest of the stuff, is it gone?
Yeah.
Okay, do you know what happened to them, or? No idea?
No, I think they were just dismantled.
Yeah, they've been in there for years and years and years, never used, and, I don't know. Just taking up space, we cleaned house, so. So that's all I've got tonight. We do have to open up bids for repair of the building.
We only got the one bid from Sawyer's. And their bid for repair and painting, they went up a little bit from last time, $18,990.
And that's the only bid we got.
The only bid we've got as a non-collusive bid form.
And this time they did mail it, they didn't send it on fax.
Right. We know it. Just that. So that's the only thing they have on. They didn't send any breakdown or anything what they were doing. They just
They didn't say it.
Well, it says we agreed to do repair work and painting on the following Chazy Town Hall items, replacing of deteriorated soffits and eaves, painting of all exterior town hall soffits, eaves trim, repair of exterior windows and painting, any other maintenance items regarding building trim. Repair and painting bid, $18,990.
What kind of, they don't state what kind of material they're gonna use on the south end? Wood or plastic?
I assume it would be wood.
That's what's up there now, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Or the other, you would have to mean,
yeah, I know.
Be a lot more expensive, I believe, though.
it'd be a little more expensive, but you wouldn't have to make it.
But the problem is, I think when you get into the intricate parts with the parts that are curved and the little items, I mean, you're talking a lot of work for those.
You had two of the previous one?
The other company contacted us, and they knew that we had to have the bids tonight and never received it, so maybe they just didn't want to rebid it or.
is there a time limit on that for completion?
No.
No, they gave no.
But we do have to do a public referendum, right, and for 30 days, is that correct?
That's already in.
Oh, it's already in there? Okay.
It's already-
I mean, we've already done that last week.
Okay.
That was to spend the money,
Okay.
authorization, to spend the money in the first place.
Okay.
So that one-
Yeah.
We have until the 20,
Right.
was it 30 days?
You already-
26?
You already did.
So we have to wait till the 26th?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Something we want
So
to
you can do
proceed
it,
with, or
you can do it the 27th, you gotta open the other.
that's the other bids, that's for the water tower? Any discussion on,
Sort of limited, I mean, you only had 2 bids that really came in, I mean, the work needs to be done, so you really don't have much of a choice. Did you get any references? Because you said you were gonna
I
ask for
called him and
references.
I did speak to him about references and he was gonna mail me something and he must have forgot, because I actually asked Leo, I said, boy, I hope they put some references in there, but I did talk to him and said, can you send me some references? Yep, I will, and what I'll do is I'll call him again tomorrow and I guess.
What's the name of the bidder?
Sawyer Construction?
Sawyer's Construction, Lake Placid.
What's the complete address?
Looks like 6005 Sentinel Road, Lake Placid, New York. Owner Bruce Sawyer,
Bruce Sawyer?
yes.
Thank you.
Now, when you bid it, or did the specs, did you specifically put what you wanted for trim, or what was included, or did you just say
Well,
all
we-
trim, or all windows, or?
We said repair of windows, painting windows, repairing soffits that are like up here in the corner. They came and looked at it, both companies came and looked at it, but I would assume they're gonna replace all that woodwork up there and
That's,
replace it.
that's the information that Steve gave me, I printed up, and that's what, as an application, that's what they filled out.
I mean, we hope and we'll want them to replace any deteriorating wood.
Just for, for other bids that we do, that we put out for big projects like that, is there any way you can put in there that they give you a list of reference with,
You can include that as part of the specs, a reference sheet.
Well, I think you did, didn't you?
I called him and he was supposed to send them to me and. of course,
It wasn't put in the
I
application.
was hoping he'd have it with it, but
Now, what are the payment terms on this? I mean, is it after completion, or did he send
he
any
didn't specify, so I'm assuming that it's, when
Because
the
some
work's
of them
done, we pay him.
3/4 up front?
and they're supply all
Application.
materials,
Yep.
labor and materials?
Does it specify anything like to our satisfaction, payment on our satisfaction? Or,
No.
I mean,
On his.
who do we have checked or that the job is done to our specifications?
Tom, myself. I mean, we'll be here watching them and making sure that things get repaired properly. I'll make sure that we get it done the right way. Yeah, we have them sign the prevailing wage forms.
Yeah, that's right.
I
What I
think
can
all
do
that
is
what we need to do is just tell them that we need acceptable proof of reference,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
I would find out too, well, their payment terms.
their payment terms.
You know, if we can withhold, I mean, if we're not happy with the job, you know,
I would say,
I don't think we should give them too much up front.
no,
If they didn't specify.
Well, you didn't specify anything as far as.
balance upon completion.
Nothing
Balance
specified.
on completion, it's just a,
Mhm.
there's no reason to
That's all we
pay
need.
any money.
Application.
If that
Well,
was a condition of the bid.
Some
Really,
people
again,
may want
should
it for
be-
material.
And we really didn't ask.
Contractors do that all the time.
No.
You should have put it in
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
I think the other thing is too, how many days after the start until the completion, we need a completion date. Right.
I think
You
that
know.
next time you better get those guys. the
Yeah,
email.
they'll tell you on
I'll
whether-
Fill out this application, and send out for his job.
Well, I just said, you know, I've dealt with contractors that work
Should
good for
really
the
be
first
part of the
week,
bid specifications when you send it out.
and then you don't see them.
At this point, I mean, it's
It-
either
It's kinda
accept or
too late
reject.
now.
Right.
Yeah, he's complying with the bid
Exactly.
Yeah,
specs
It's
as they
confined to the
were.
way that we had written
you're not
it,
gonna
so,
change anything.
but for the next time, maybe
Mhm.
that's what we need to address.
Have more
Well, they ran-
companies that are trying for these type of jobs, but
They rent that stuff anyway. Most of them.
I think you probably saw in the paper one more item here too, that our court clerk will be leaving. Due to health reasons, and she's done a very nice job, Veronica. So, we will be having interviews here this Friday, or this Thursday and Friday? This Thursday and Friday.
We've had a lot of people apply.
We've got like
About 7.
7,
Yeah.
Great.
so.
Now, is she gonna stay on
To train.
until
I'm not sure
starts in
yet.
the training?
I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure if, the judges are gonna train the new person or what the status is.
Knowing Bob, I think he's gonna want to train him, so.
Yeah.
But Veronica's done a very, very nice job.
Mhm.
I think, will she still be working with Bob? I can't remember, a little bit, yeah. She's just been advised, you know, because of health issues that she needs to slow
Got
down.
it back.
She's done a great, great job though, and so,
Now will the new person be filling in with Bob too?
no, I think Veronica's still gonna do a little work with Bob.
Okay, so
We have a amount in the budget for her for that, just that position alone, so that doesn't require a lot of time, so. So do we want to do that resolution now for the, hall repairs, or, we got it up here, and then, Tom wants to address this real quick.
Okay. Okay, well, somebody wants to make a motion that we accept the bid from Sawyer's Construction as being the only bid for the repair of the town hall.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Counselor Trombley made the motion, second by Counselor Devens. Any further discussion? Roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
yes.
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devens,
Yes.
Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes. Tom, you want to address the board real quick?
Okay, it looks like we can get a student intern for the summer. Plattsburgh State usually pays their student interns $10 an hour. If we put, or if you put aside a $3,000 amount, that would amount to about 7.5 weeks of work. And I think that we could probably accomplish getting this comprehensive plan finished on that. You would have access to Plattsburgh State labs and all the facilities that they would have. And we also have the GIS software here, and most of the work would be done out of this office. What we have to do is get all the demographic information together, and a lot of that would be through Pat Ayers. And you'd be working here, and I believe they'd have to go on a payroll. Is that correct or not? At work, in the past, I think we did, the last one we did was as a consultant, but,
Right, I think things have changed.
yeah, so.
I have been advised by Mr. Bosley, who's been doing tons of work for the town with the mapping, that he would help
I volunteered to be a resource for the student.
at no cost. So we'd like to thank him very much for
Absolutely.
coming forward and volunteering his time.
He's still working on his last day, that's why.
All right.
So,
Now, you said you think they can get it done, or?
It should be able to get this done. It's getting all the demographic information together. What's in here is, the last one was 1991, so the data was 1980. So we're dealing with 30-year-old data, and it's just bringing all of that information up to date and putting it in some kind of a GIS format that we can use.
And if you shouldn't be able to complete it, where will we go from there?
Well, then we would have the comprehensive plan completed, we'd have to have public hearings and publish it.
No, if he doesn't complete
If he
it.
doesn't complete it, then the planning board would have to figure out, we'd have to take on that workload.
Now, do you think that that's possible in that amount of time to do all that inputting?
It is, short of paying how many thousands of dollars for
Right.
professional consultants to come in. This seems like a realistic solution, great opportunity for the student, great opportunity for the town to get this accomplished, to have that comprehensive plan as a foundation to go after grants.
But it's a realistic time frame
It
to
is.
have
It
all that
is.
information?
I think that we have a support network set up to help that become what happens.
And could you tell us the advantages of having this done?
Having the comprehensive plan done.
Well, you're
You know,
gonna
having this plotting done the way that we're gonna be doing it.
Well, if we do it in a GIS format, then what we've got is all of that data there to build on. The problem comes is who's going to maintain it. So it's always going to be a problem.
We're trying to keep updating it.
Exactly, updating it. Now, we've got the capability of putting all of the files together with all of the planning board approvals that have been there, all the variances. Right now, if you wanted to find out what properties had variances on it, you'd be hard pressed to do it because the records there's voids in it. But I don't think with what we're doing this summer, it's not getting all that data in there. What we're trying to do is just try to get the comprehensive plan completed. And the advantage to that is if you have a comprehensive plan that's within 2 years old, you get extra points when you're applying for grants.
Any discussion? Can we find $3,000 in our budget to, or do we have anybody with schooling that are going here?
Didn't we put it in there?
No, I don't think so. I think we did for him.
I think that at one
This would be an
time,
addition of
a couple of years ago, we've been working on this for a few years, and I think a couple of years ago, you did do
We
some
put
kind of
money in.
resolution.
We put money in, but we didn't use it.
Didn't spend it, no.
Right, that's what it is.
Yeah,
We put money in,
but that was a couple
Oh,
of years
we
ago.
didn't put any in
Right.
addition? I'm not sure.
and we didn't use it
Okay.
when we put it in then.
But what we'll do is, we'll look and see if it was in last year's budget. I don't have it with me right now, but we'll look and see if there's another place we can draw from. And then we'll bring it at the next meeting. When do you have to let them know by?
Well, the sooner we get going with this, this is finals week
Yeah.
right now.
Oh,
So if,
You could start
Can you
next
draw
week.
it from the crossing guards, for the money you had put aside for crossing guards?
Seen how schools almost.
we don't have 3,000 though, is it? Yeah, it might be close to it, right? Yeah, we
What about my
What about the
schooling?
money allotted for schooling? I mean,
Yeah, we can, I
Stop.
think we can find it.
Use my schooling.
Yeah, there's 1,200
You've
there.
already used it.
take
Okay,
mine.
all right. So let's do a resolution that,
There's 24.
Well,
Right, Kathy?
That's right, Buck.
Damn right.
We won't go to school, okay?
Well, we'll see Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Resolution for what?
to authorizing $3,000 for a college intern to work on comprehensive plan.
Okay, have a resolution to authorize $3,000 for a college intern to work on comprehensive plan. Have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Counselor Evans made the motion, Counselor Trombley second. Any discussion? Roll call, Counselor Lattimore?
Yes.
Counselor Dean?
Yes.
Counselor Devon?
Yes.
Counselor Trombley?
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel?
Yes.
And as long as we're doing the resolution, before we forget it, do the one for Pat Ayers, going to school.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Jerry?
Yep.
Counselor Devens made the motion, second by Counselor Dino, to allow Pat Ayers to go to school for assessors. Cost of $90. Any discussion? Roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
Yes.
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devens.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes. I might have continue with the rest of the resolution.
Okay, the other one on your list is for the Aflac benefit plans and policy changes. They're to change their physical year for insurance.
I'll make the motion.
What is it, what was it changed for, just out of curiosity?
It's just they're changing their fiscal year.
Oh, Aflac is?
Yes. So we just have to acknowledge it and
I'll make a motion.
Motion's already been made by
Oh.
Pat.
All right, then. I'll
Second.
second it.
You second it? Okay, on the Aflac benefit plans and policy change for their fiscal year to go from April 1st to March 31st. Motion is made by Counselor Devens, seconded by Counselor Dino. Any discussion? Roll call, Counselor Lattimore.
Yes.
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devens.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
yes.
Okay, and the other one is on the payment of claims.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Counselor Devens made the motion, seconded by Counselor Dino. Roll call, Counselor Lattimore.
Yes.
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devens.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes. Yes, I'm good.
That's it on resolution.
Anything motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Counselor Devens and seconded by Counselor Lattimore.
Counselor Devens, Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Resolution 96, resolution authorizing Pittsburgh Tank and Power Company, Inc. to provide signs, screen, and clean water tank, and to clean water tank. Any further discussion? Anyone make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Councilor Lattimore made a motion to adopt the following resolution, seconded by Councilor Trombley. Roll call, Councilor Lattimore,
Yes.
Councilor Dino,
Yes.
Councilor Devon.
Yes.
Councilor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Resolution 97, resolution authorizing Neil Carey to survey Chazy Town Hall property. Any further discussion?
Probably should have a cost on this.
Is there something that we can go out for bid for?
No, it's professional services, so
Okay.
certain, but you should have
Okay.
a proposal or
Okay.
something so the board knows what they're.
Okay, so I'm gonna suggest we table this till next meeting. It's not, immediate thing that we need right today, so
It'd be
let's
nice
just
if they
table this.
submitted,
till-
just
I'll
a
get a,
proposal.
Okay.
Now, just another question, Bill. This has never been done, a survey of this property. And I think it sounds like there may be question as far as the new part that was built maybe on somebody else's property. If that,
That's why we're doing this.
if that becomes an issue, isn't there a law as far as for time element?
There are adverse possession
You
issues
can
and
sue.
other things, but hopefully we'd be able to work it out with a boundary line agreement or something with the adjoining property owner, if that's the case. Is that why we feel it's necessary to get it surveyed?
Well, we're doing it because of the renovation process that may be taking place.